Right, you ready, mate?
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool. And a three, and a two, and a one. Hello, welcome to Mojo Radio. Oh, fucking hell, what? Oh, I've completely fucking forgotten what show we're up to. 2 seconds.
No worries.
436. Okay, three, two, one. Hello, and welcome to Mojo Radio, episode 436 for Tuesday, the 24th of October 2017. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamer tag, piss on D, Steam ID, Webby307, and joining me today is.
Hey, just me, since they switch.
And that's it! Just Webby and the Switch today. Wes is meant to join us, but I think there's something wrong with his Skype. I've been trying to call him to no answer, but we'll keep on trying. If not, it'll just be myself and Switch. But that's all good, because we'll just make it a short show. And we pretty much play enough games to cover 4 people anyway.
Pretty much. Even I've been dabbling a few different things this week, so.
Fun times. So we'll get cracking on. I broke my promise and bought a new game this week.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're going to dive straight into it. So a new
Promises
release.
are made to be broken, mate.
Sorry?
Said promises are made to be broken.
Well, that's it. So I've been playing quite a few new games. So I'm going to get straight into Gran Turismo Sport. So I picked this up because there was a Digital Foundry video that went up online comparing Forza 7 to Gran Turismo Sport, and which made it seem intriguing. I did actually play the GT Sport demo beforehand and thought it was okay then. But to be honest, I'm enjoying it because it's something quite... what's the word? Relaxing about just doing those licenses. And I know, like, it sounds really boring.
Relaxing.
Yeah. And
I used to get really irate at those back on the PS1.
well, when you get onto the harder ones, it does get a bit frustrating because you find yourself like being a couple of milliseconds, but above gold. So you want to get gold, so you keep on retrying over and over again. So it gets to that kind of OCD-ness in you. But the thing about Gran Turismo Sport that's a little bit disappointing is there's not really a proper single-player campaign. Like, the single-player is basically just the driving tests, and that's about it. Which is a bit sucky. If you've got shit internet, then you're fucked because you need to be online to do any of that anyway. So that sucks.
I think the stuff is you don't need an internet connection for that, but it's just
Oh,
so
you do. The only thing you don't need an internet connection for is doing the arcade mode.
All right.
Because
And
whenever I do anything on the driving test and stuff, it says cloud saving. And after speaking to some people, they've come to the same conclusion as well. But graphically, it looks absolutely gorgeous. And obviously, I'm running it on a standard PS4 on a 1080p TV. I don't have the Pro or 4K. I think it looks great. It does look really nice. And the car handling feels really, really cool as well. And the photo mode is stunning as well,
right.
as you were
my
mentioning
favourite
last
bit.
week. But in my opinion, someone who has Forza 7 on a PC running it on Ultra, which is what the Xbox One X version will look like, in my opinion, Forza 7 looks better and the cars handle better as well in a more fun way, if that makes sense. And it has more content, it has more cars, more tracks, and actually has a decent single player, and the online is really, really good as well. I was trying to play Gran Turismo online today, and I don't know what it was, but I was getting into lobbies where no one was actually racing. Everyone was just like doing like test laps, I didn't actually get into one race. I was trying to get into races online for about half an hour, and it just didn't happen. So I don't know if there's something going on there, if I was just getting into weird lobbies or what. But that was a bit frustrating. So yeah, I mean, Gran Turismo doesn't feel like a finished game at the moment. Understand there are some updates coming out at some point that's going to add more content, which is good. But at the moment, um, if you're if you're wanting simulation, then this is probably the game to go for because the cars handle like real cars, whereas Forza, it's not 100% sim. It's that balance between simulation and arcade, which feels just right for having fun. So, but I think if you own a PlayStation and you love car games, then there isn't really a massive reason to not get Gran Turismo, just because it's one of those PlayStation exclusive games that is just stunning to look at as you're playing it, and it does have content there that you will enjoy if you're into car games.
Yeah, there isn't a massive amount of car games available for the PS4, truth be told. I mean, it's like Project Cars is about the only other thing I can think of.
Well, you've got what's the other one? The free one?
Rocket League?
No, Drive Club.
Oh, Drive Club.
Yeah, you got Drive Club as well. But I wasn't a fan of Project Cars 2. I just thought the cars handled like dog shit, whereas on Gran Turismo they actually handle nice, and they've put so much work into the little details in everything, into all the cars in this as well. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. I've played it for a good few hours today. I only picked it up this afternoon and stuck a good few hours into it, and it's pretty fun so far. Obviously, I've been playing a lot of Forza 7 as well, and obviously I've got a bit of an edge, as I say, because I've been playing it on PC, and I've got obviously the HD packs that the Xbox One X version's going to have, and I think if you haven't picked up Forza 7 yet and you're waiting for the Xbox One X to come out for it, you will be pleasantly surprised with that as well. It's just absolutely phenomenal. But if you own both systems and you can only pick up one of the two racing games, it's easy for me to recommend Forza over Gran Turismo just because it has more content and, in my opinion, looks slightly better as well. So that's my review. Woo!
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah. The crowd goes wild. Webby wins the race again. Right, so I've also been playing South Park: The Fractured But Whole. And I'll tell you what,
I completely forgot that was coming out, to be honest.
yeah, and I'm a massive fan of the show. I think I've watched every single episode of South Park that's ever come out. I look forward to the new seasons coming out every year, and I loved the first game. So the second game carries on straight after the first one, and it does a really good job. So did you play the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the first one, it was obviously about the Stick of Truth and you're all wizards and all that sort of stuff. So at the beginning of this one, you start off as wizards and you're the king, and then it quickly turns into Coon and Friends, and it tries to be, and they're all playing as superheroes. And very much like, is it the Marvel movies where they all come together and they have those movies where they're kind of the Civil War thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of taking the piss out of that. So they're all together and then they split off into two different factions. And it's just comedy gold. Mr. Hankey's in it and you get to explore. And obviously Mr. Hankey's hilarious, and so is Towley.
Towley's
yeah, and all the classic characters are in it, and you can explore the town, and it's very much just a normal RPG. So you're going around the town, you pick up different side quests, and they're all just fucking hilarious. And if you've watched the South Park shows, then all those in-jokes and all those references are in the game. So, like, from the last series, the member berries are in there. So if you've watched that, it's like, you remember this, remember that, and so so you got these secret things where you have to find all the member berries, and then there was an in joke as well in the show. There's two of the kids are gay, so it's Craig and one of the other ones. I can't remember the other guy's name, And there was this in-joke where there was all these anime paintings of them, like holding hands and stuff like that. So those are collectibles throughout the game as well, which and they're in just really random places, and it's hilarious. There's a lot of fart jokes in this game, so if you've got a very immature sense of humour like me, then you will find it hilarious. And there's this other thing which you can do is in everyone's house. I think on the Xbox this will probably be an achievement. I'm playing it on PC to take a shit in every single person's toilet in all their houses, and doing a shit in the toilet's like its own little mini game where you have to like wiggle the sticks in different directions and hit the triggers. It's absolutely hilarious. So if you're a fan of South Park, then this is kind of your dream because it's just absolutely hilarious. If you don't like South Park, then obviously you're not going to like this game at all. I love it, and it's well worth the money. It's just so much fun. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, to be honest. So I'm going to kind of stop where it is in the story at the moment, but I'm just going to say that so far I've had a really fun time with it. It's just so much fun, and the battle system has slightly changed. So in this one, it's kind of a grid system.
Oh, right, yeah, because it was just your standard JRPG turn-based fare, wasn't it, in the last one?
Yeah, so this one you got like when you start a fight, it's turn-based, but there's little grids on the floor, so you move to the different grids and you do your different moves, and then it makes it so you can avoid attacks and stuff as well, and you get different moves that can affect like multiple grids at a time. So it's pretty tactical, and it's really, really fun. I think it's going to be up there for me at the end of the year. I think it's really, really good.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So
I know a lot of people were slightly worried because it was put back, wasn't it, a little bit? Not as bad as the original one was, but it was always pushed back. But
and one thing that I think they did really well with the game as well is the episode of the TV show a week before the game came out was actually a prequel to the game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to do.
So yeah, it tied in really nicely. It was a really, really good idea. So because I watched that episode, I had a bit more of a backstory as to what was happening, which is really, really cool. So it's nice of them to do that. Also, I've been putting quite a lot of hours into The Evil Within 2. So I think I briefly touched on this last week. I've put quite a few hours into it now, and it's fucking scary. It really, really is. And I've read online that there's a secret first-person mode that you can activate now on the PC version, which I've not done yet because I think I will probably shit my pants playing it in first person, so I'm not going to bother. But it's starting to remind me a little bit like Silent Hill, because
yeah, I've heard of that because of the open world map, and some of the areas are like cordoned off by big chasms and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, so the world is really weird. So some of the town's kind of upside down in the distance, and the town is pretty cool because you can pretty much go in most of the houses and explore, which is really, really cool to pick up like
is everyone like a bit fucked up?
I'm not going to give away story stuff, but all I'm going to say is it's full of the town's full of monsters, different types of monsters. As you can imagine, if you played the last Evil Within game, and some of them can like poison you, and some of them are like dogs. So there's lots of a variety of enemies in this game. But the cool thing is you can incorporate stealth, so you can press the bumper to kind of hide around the corner, and as you progress through the game, you can unlock different moves to do stealth takedowns, which is pretty cool. And you can like hide in bushes and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. If you've not played the game yet, I would recommend, if you do get it, do the side missions, because the side missions give you extra weapons, which is cool. So from one of the side missions I did, I got a crossbow, and the crossbow is absolutely brilliant because you can get different types of bolts, like electric bolts, bomb bolts, etc. And it's silent as well, so it won't alert the enemies, because if you make noise, all the enemies will start running towards you, especially if you're in the open world of the town. And what I'm really liking about it is it's very psychological as well. So you'll be walking. So as part of the story, for example, you'll be walking through a warehouse, and there's this big bad guy in the game, and he fucks with your mind. So you'll be walking, and all of a sudden the screen will go black, and it'll come back again, and you'll be in this freaky corridor with all these like weird paintings on the walls, and you walk down a little bit, and then it will blank out again, and you'll be back in the warehouse. For example, it's things like that. They really mess with your mind, and kind of the whole story is you're looking for your daughter, and she's got some powers or something, and so that's pretty much the crux of the game. And I'm really enjoying it. It's absolutely brilliant. And if you've not played the first one, I recommend playing that before this as well. Not because the story kind of follows on, but you can play this without playing the first one. But I think for that added context, play the first one first. Just because one, it's a fucking awesome game, the first one anyway, and two, you do get that context of some of the backstory that goes into the second game as well. So,
I mean, you probably get it for about $5 now.
Yeah.
Like $5 or $10 in the States, whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
You're talking about a 3 or 4, well, about 4-year-old game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it was multiple release, wasn't it? It was out on next gen and like last gen at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, this game is fucking awesome. So I'm going to try and complete this in the next couple of weeks. I hope. I won't be able to this week because I'm really busy, but I will hopefully get it done in the next few weeks. It's just fantastic. It's just a great game. So, recommended. The Webby seal of approval. A couple of games I've been playing on the Switch this week. I've been playing Zelda. I'm still trying to get that done. This game is fucking massive. I think I'll still be playing it into next year. It's just
DLC
great.
for it as well.
I'm not going to play the DLC, but my Switch games at the minute, I mean, I've not even played the Mario Rabbids yet, so I've got that to play. And obviously Mario's out this month, which I'm not going to pick up because I've got these other games to play on the Switch at the moment. But my main game on the Switch, funnily enough, is a little game called Golf Story. And it's a Switch exclusive. I think I mentioned it last week as well. So it's a top-down kind of 16-bit game. And it's a proper RPG, but it's all about golf. And I'm loving it. So you go to these different golf courses and you have to do these challenges. And the golf play in itself works really, really well. And you have like a little bar at the bottom of the screen. So you like click it once on one point and click it again on the next point, and you get like a straight perfect shot. And if you deviate, it will go like left or right, you know, like swerve, or won't go as far as it should. You can do trick shots like bouncing your ball off turtles and things like that. But it's a proper RPG, so you go and talk to the different people at different golf courses, and they give you different challenges to do. And like at some courses, they won't let you play on the course until you do these other challenges, which is really, really cool. So I'm really enjoying it. It's really, really fun. I've only visited 2 golf courses. I think there's like 6 or so. There's quite a lot. So, and there's so much to do on the golf courses. So the second one I finished up yesterday. Took me absolutely hours. So yeah, it's a fun little game. It's like 14-15 quid on the Switch. So I would recommend it. If you have a Switch, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, had a lot of people talking about it on the old social, like especially things like that are perfect for like taking on the go. I think that is one of the main appeals of the machine, is the fact that you can just undock it and off you go.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I have not actually played it on the TV. I've played it all on the small screen, that game, so it just works really, really well. That's all I've been playing, really. It's a lot of games. Always gaming.
Quite a bit here and there. Yeah.
Oh, well, actually, I forgot to mention my main game I've been playing every day. Without fail, I've played this game at least once. One game a day, and that's PUBG.
Like millions of others.
Yeah, I don't go a day without playing it. And I was playing solo mode today, and I got to second. in solo. Out of 100 players, I came second, and it was gutting, man. Thought I could smell that chicken dinner, you know, and I got taken away from me, man. Gutting. I'm
Was it
actually.
last end nerves or?
I think so because my palms are really sweaty on the mouse, so I just kind of fucked up. But yeah, I'm still absolutely loving this game. I literally will play it every day, just because it's that addictive. You know, even on my own, I'll just jump on, do a round or two, and that's my fix. And I'll
Don't
be
you
playing.
find it too nerve-wracking, or is it just? I suppose it's one of those ones where the longer a game goes on, the more nerve-wracking it
Yeah,
gets.
yeah, and I'm still learning things about the game. I've played it for about 90 hours now, and I'm still learning different places to go. I mean, that map is huge. I've been playing quite a lot with Kirk because he's on it most nights, so I normally jump on with him, and we have a good time on duos. I managed to get a couple of people in my work to pick it up as well, so I've been playing with them as well. So it's quite cool to teach new people about the game and just to hear them enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to it coming to Xbox because I think the more people that play it, the more people have fun is a good thing.
It
Um,
should be cross-play as far as I can think of as
it won't be,
well.
man, because the mouse and controller thing.
Yeah, I suppose. Although they were talking about having mouse and keyboard support for Xbox at some point, and then giving people the option to go into games with people with like mouse and keyboard or like controller only or a mixture.
Mm,
Which is a like it seems like a decent enough move to do it. I mean, it's not like you're gonna struggle to find players to play it with anyway, especially not on the PC at the moment. There's enough concurrent players in that game.
yeah.
And considering the bloody thing isn't even out yet, I think it's actually getting a final finished version one. Is it later this month or next month?
I'm not sure, mate. I've no idea.
Because they'll obviously make sure that's done and then put out the obviously the Xbox version after that.
Yeah, I think.
As
I mean, the thing that shocked me is obviously it's still in beta, as you say, and it sold over 15 million copies. I mean, they've made some money. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
I think it's like him and a few, like one bloke and a few others. And apparently, the bloke who actually made the game doesn't even play it himself.
Lols.
Something about the fact, I think it was something like if he said if he actually played the game, he might get annoyed with certain aspects and want to change things. So
Yeah,
he's just leaving it alone.
that's fair.
But who knows? It might have just been some weird rumor someone was putting out there as normal.
Yep. Right. Anyway, that's all I've played, dude. Um, as I don't want to spoil South Park because there is some moments that I could talk about, but it would ruin the game for people. I want to
Well,
leave the
the thing with that
surprises.
game is it's obviously solely based on comedy, and you don't want to ruin. It's like telling someone the punchline to a joke
Yeah,
before the joke itself. It's not good.
yeah,
I mean, we all had those friends that used to go to the cinema and watch a film, and then they'd be like, "Oh, I'll tell you this little bit, don't worry." And then by the end of this conversation you have with them, you know the fucking ending and everything.
yeah.
But it's
Just
worth
talking
me going to
about
watch it
films,
now.
quick. I watched Blade Runner again on Blu-ray.
Oh, the original. How
Yeah,
did you
because I hadn't seen it
find
in
it?
years. I was like, oh man, it's pretty good.
Did you
But
watch
it,
it through new eyes? Like,
yeah, I was just like, wow, this is a pretty cool game, and I love the game film. And the '80s music, cheese, it's great. So, because I'm,
the music's really bizarre, isn't it? In it, it's all
yeah,
like proper synth, like heavy synth type stuff.
and it reminded me because of the game because I remember playing the game as well back in the day. It was a point and click adventure, if memory serves right, and that was pretty cool. So I might actually try and download that again. But I'm planning on going and watching the new one at the cinema at some point this week if I can.
It's like I say, it's for the actual cinema spectacle. Spectacle. It's supposed to be really, really good.
Yeah, I've heard so. Yeah. So anyway, what have you been playing, Darren?
Hey, myself. Well, obviously 14, Final Fantasy, been on that
Wasn't there a new
every
patch for that
day.
out or something?
Yeah, it was out last week. I briefly mentioned it, like new story stuff and whatnot. I won't sort of go on too much about it. There's a few extra things in it I still haven't done, like new squadron missions where you can take your squadron into dungeons and stuff. But it's something that's not really like appealing to myself. Running around with like AI people in dungeons, it's bad enough with other people sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it for a good couple of weeks now, just because I've been busy playing other games. I would like to jump back on at some point though, very shortly, just to do that new content because the new story content is always really, really good.
Yeah, it's like you'll probably get done with that within like say 2 to 3 hours or so. I'd say it's quite meaty compared to obviously the some of the stuff we got in like the 3.0 patches, but again,
Yeah.
it's sort of like only meant to be there for like sort of a few hours, and it's the other stuff. But there's another patch I think coming this week that adds some of the other content that was missing
Mhm.
because there's a lot of games now, and people are starting to think Final Fantasy is doing the same thing with its patches that are staggering content on purpose. They say it's being pushed back for tweaking and stuff, but it's probably done on purpose because it keeps people talking about it.
Yeah, I know what you're
And
saying.
with Final Fantasy, with it being a subscription based, you'll get a lot of people that will sub for the month or for like the couple of months when a new patch comes out. They'll blast through the content in about a week or two if they're one of these like hardcore people or whatever, and then
Yeah.
that's it. They'll leave it, and then they won't come back until the next major patch. But by the staggering some of the patch content into like 1.5 and 1.7 and all of this stuff, it keeps people coming back constantly for the newer little tidbits. It's like they're being fed little morsels rather than the whole meal in one go.
Yeah, so they
So I
keep
think
people
they're,
subbing.
yeah, I mean, it's not too bad because if you're coming back for like a patch anyway, you'll only do get like a 60-day sub. So you're going to be basically spending the same anyway. But it's put another little hook in here to maybe will you back in like a couple of weeks further down when they add in like a few extra bits. It's like I think they're adding in like a PvP map thing and like the ultimate difficulty of like Savage Coil, which hopefully no one will beat for quite a long time, and then everyone can shut the fuck up, basically, because some of the stuff like in the community there's some really really cool people in the community, but there's a lot of like vocal people who just moan and bitch constantly like, oh, I only do one class, I've completed the raid, there's nothing else to do, why don't you give us harder content? And it's like, there's your hard content, shut up.
Hmm.
Smash your face against that for the next 2 or 3 months, sort of a thing, and
Well,
stop
some people
complaining.
like that challenge, don't they?
Yeah, well, that's why you've got games like Dark Souls and all these other things. It's the amount of games now that are trying to become the next Dark Souls, or if the game's slightly hard, it gets labelled, oh, it's Dark Souls. Like Cuphead, it's a platformer Dark Souls. No, it fucking isn't.
Well, this was quite funny about Cuphead. I actually forgot to mention I'd been playing that a little bit as well. And Stunty and Dan keep on bashing it.
Why? I'm surprised Dan's bashing it because Dan's like a fan of the old platformy shooters of that
Well,
era and
he's
stuff.
saying it's style over substance.
Well, it is, yeah, it is still like the same sort of arcadey style as games in the past, but with this beautiful
Yeah,
overlay.
yeah. I mean, I think it handles great. It's very responsive. You hit a button and it's on the screen straight away.
Oh,
You
it
know.
has to
Yeah,
be in a game
yeah.
like that. It requires lightning reflexes and reactions.
I mean, it handles just like one of those old school games of the past. You know, those old arcade games, and it's just the fact that it's got a really cool art style that just adds to its awesomeness. And I think it's great. It does get frustrating, don't get me wrong, because it is really, really hard, but all the levels are doable. And you just got to
And
learn
not
the
only that,
patterns.
the levels don't take long.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, when you lose all your lives, you aren't chucked back to the title screen having to start again from the very beginning of the game, which is what a lot of the old games used to do.
Yep.
So you have still got that modern stylization with it to make it slightly easier. I mean, yeah, if it was going way back to sort of like the sort of early 90s style platformers and stuff, then people would be going mad. And I suppose if this game had come out around that era, people would say it was too it's a bit easy actually because of the generous checkpoints and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they
Oh.
announced this week that it sold over 1 million copies.
Yeah, and
So
that's really, really good.
yeah,
I'd be interested to know how many it sold on the console compared to the PC though. That would be interesting because it's also available on
I hear
Steam.
quite a few people playing. Yeah, it's on. Oh, is it Steam? Is it not via the Windows
It's
thing?
on Windows and Steam.
All right, that's shocking. It's usually just on the Windows own thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but you do get a lot of people that will only buy their games on Steam because they just don't want to be buying games on different stores. You know, because you've got EA Store, you've got Ubisoft Store, you've got
Blizzard Store.
Microsoft, Blizzard, and Steam. And obviously, because Steam is the biggest, people just like to keep everything in one place, which
Yeah,
I can.
consolidate. Yeah,
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 which is fair. So,
that's
and
understandable.
obviously, Steam is the biggest store. So, if you have your game on there, you're going to sell a bucket load.
Pretty much. Is there like a promoted page on Steam and stuff to
Yeah,
push forward?
yeah, there is. Yeah, front page. Yeah,
That obviously helps push sales quite a lot. But yeah, I heard a lot of sort of like horror tales about the Cuphead was delayed for like a good couple of years, wasn't it? Really, I think it was supposed to come out about a year or two after the Xbox launched or the Xbox One launched.
mhm.
And then like every E3 they'd show bits off, and a lot of people were like, yeah, we're actually going to see the game. And then there were stories about the developers like remortgaging their houses and stuff to get funding to finish it and stuff. So hearing that the game's actually sold pretty well is good. I mean, 1 million isn't fantastic, but it's still good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, this is in a world where we'll get to it later, where Dead Space 2 can sell 4 million copies, and a publisher thinks it's a failure.
yeah. Sad. Didn't EA get rid of that development team this
Yeah,
week as
we'll talk
well?
about that later. Fucking dickheads.
Yeah, that's bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, going on to sort of other stuff I've basically been mucking around with. Fortnite again, sort of like jumping on that every day to sort of do my daily bits and bobs.
have you done the PUBG clone bit yet?
No, I just watch people. I've watched a few people play it, and it's just I don't even really enjoy watching people play those games, let alone play them. They all seem very samey to me. It's just like run around. Oh, there's someone shoot them. Oh, he got me. Sort of thing. But each to their own. I know a lot of people really like it, and the main fact that I believe that the PUBG lot were upset with Epic for doing this Fortnite thing is the fact that they've been sort of like waiting for ages to get sort of PUBG out into the hands of like other people bar the PC crowd, and then literally Fortnite, which was a completely different game, it is like a fort building horde mode game.
Yeah,
It was sudden was like, oh, we've made this mode, and here it is, free for fucking everyone on every platform.
yeah, it's
I
bastards.
think
Isn't it?
the only thing it's not on is the Switch. I think, but that could actually happen,
Yeah,
possibly. But then again, the game needs a constant internet connection, so
yeah,
like I think that's for both modes. So yeah, that could be an issue. So probably might not then, just because of that. But yeah, so they've sort of obviously the PUBG developers thought like, oh, they've stolen a little bit of our thunder.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, don't just sit there with your dick in your hand. Just fucking get the thing done and out. I mean, obviously, yeah, it is quite hard to do considering the game's still in like a sort of beta test phase anyway on the PC.
yeah. Well, I mean, I still am against that game completely anyway because who fucking, and I know you did it yourself, Darren, but who fucking pays for a beta of a free to play game? I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, but
I
it's
just
to
think
me,
it's a
it's
piss
not really a
take.
game that sort of feels free to play. I thought you was about to say he plays for a beta of a game that's not released yet, and I was like, hang on, like,
Yeah. So that's what I think is a bit of a piss take, and they're getting away with it as well because I think it's
oh,
sold a lot of copies.
there's a lot of shady shit going on in the gaming industry recently, to be quite honest.
Well, the
Uh,
whole loot box thing, which you already mentioned last week, is the biggest bone of contention at the moment.
have you
And
heard it's actually been taken to the British courts?
yeah, yeah, and rightfully fucking
It's good.
so.
Yeah. There is an online petition you can sign as well, somewhere. I
Yeah, signed
can't
it, mate.
remember entirely where, but yeah, it's just one of those things where sooner or later it would be nice for. Obviously, the game publishers don't necessarily want this because it cuts into their greedy ass profit margins,
Mm-hmm.
but they should have to start labeling stuff properly, and maybe bumping up age ratings on certain games to stop them because obviously a lot of us are sensible and stuff, and we won't run around spunking all our money on loot crates for things like Shadow of War and other bits and bobs like that. But there are people who do fucking do it.
Yeah,
And as people know in the mobile market, there are people who spend thousands, which the publishers and developers have nicknamed whales, who will just basically keep a free-to-play game alive through like ludicrous amounts of like microtransactions for something that we might look at and go, "What the fuck is this?" It's like pictures on a phone and not much else.
yeah. Well, it
Sort of a
just
thing.
like it does frustrate me because that whole free to play model is now in games that you're paying 50 fucking quid for. I mean, whatever happened to the days of buying a game and then just unlocking crap through playing the game normally? Now it's you
Yeah.
can't unlock anything unless you fucking pay for it. It's a piss take.
Even in sort of like certain games, one of the things that did sort of slightly piss me off back in the day in Street Fighter Five. Even in that, you when you complete the story mode with each of the characters, you unlock a different outfit for them, which is the story outfit. You still have to fucking buy those outfits with in-game credits.
Yeah, it's
You,
bullshit.
you don't just actually unlock them, and it's like I'm not going to spend 40,000 bloody credits to unlock a story mode outfit for that character when I can buy a brand new stage for 70,000. It just feels like a waste,
Yeah,
sort of a thing.
defo. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, like talking about outfits, I'll just briefly go on to the one of the other games I've been like mucking around with this week, and that is I went back to Agents of Mayhem because I noticed that one of the characters that was originally like a pre-order bonus from certain retailers was now like available to most people to buy
Oh, okay.
as like an extra bonus. It was like it wasn't the Johnny Gat because like if you bought pardon me, the day one DLC, you actually got him, or the day one edition, you got him with it anyway, and I didn't even pre-order. I just ended up getting it. Oh, pardon me, and he came bundled in with it. But yeah, it's a character called Lazarus who plays completely differently compared to all the other characters. She's basically like an ex-soldier who was sort of killed in action, but then sort of like injected with like nanomachines.
All
So
right.
she's like
Sounds cool.
basically, yeah, so she's like part human, part machine.
Mm.
And her skin's got like steel under the skin and bits of like metal and that going around, and she's got like a load of nano machines that sort of like rotate round herself. And she's sort of like she's the most sort of super powered of the characters that I've actually played as in the game because they're obviously quite a cast of like weird and wonderful set of characters. And she basically like fires these nano machines off at people, which then attach themselves to them, dealing like damage over time. And then you can like shock them with like a chest thing and pull them back into you, which gives you a bit of health regen as well because her shields are shite.
Mhm.
Like her running animation as well, she sort of floats through the air as well, which is like pretty cool in comparison to all the other characters because they all just sort of like run. And again, like with the characters in the game, you get it's like $3.99, which isn't bad considering you get like actually get the character, and then like a bunch of skins for that character as well. So like there's like the standard skin. There's one that looks again. There's loads of little nods and cheeky little piss takes of other sort of like genres and sort of like characters from other things. So she's got like a skin that makes her look like Mystique from X-Men. There's another one that I think is Jubilee, but I'm not honestly too sure. There's a skin where she looks like one of the Titans from Attack on Titan,
That's cool.
and one that makes her look like the Vision as well.
Oh, all right.
So they've always been like quite cheeky and good with it, with that aspect. And another thing that as well, obviously I played this when it first came out, but I know there was like a couple of things like about a month or two after it came out, they released like an update for it on the PS4 for HDR.
Okay.
And it's another one of those games that looks really good in HDR, especially at night time, because it's set in like Seoul or somewhere like that. It's all like very neon signs and lots of purples and all the other bits and bobs. And like when I'm using like this character Lazarus at night, she looks amazing. It's like all of the glows on her hands like echo out properly. Like the metal stuff under her skin starts to become really metallic and shiny at night, and her eyes are like piercing green, like glowing out and stuff.
Nice.
So I imagine, hopefully, they'll do like an upgraded resolution and a HDR texture thing for the X. Like if when that comes out, so like Xbox One owners can like enjoy that with it as well, which is good. I mean, originally I think they were planning a couple more extra characters for the game. But I don't think it's done particularly well sales wise. I know it's sort of like hit that usual sort of 7s and 8s, didn't it, when it actually came out in reviews and stuff.
Well, you're the only person I know who actually picked it up.
Yeah, there is someone else. Like I think Detroit Slasher picked it up as well, and he's been enjoying it. But it's not like a massively long game. You're not over encumbered with all of this like stuff. I mean, fair enough, you've got that collectibles, which I was talking to you about earlier, is like 340 of these shards to find, sort of a thing. But it's very much like the traversing around is quite fun because it's pretty much like Crackdown, and like everything's contained in quite a small area. It's probably one of the smaller sort of open world environments that I've actually gone around in. But I still enjoy it, and it's good fun to sort of dip in and out of. It would have been cool for them to release like extra character DLC like every other month or something, just to add characters to the roster, because it is like they have tried to mix sort of like an open world game with like a hero shooter to a certain aspect, with all the characters being quite unique and having these different sort of like pros and cons to them.
Cool.
Yeah, I dipped into as well this past week Killing Floor 2.
Oh, nice, man. I've played quite a bit of that on the PC and on the PS4.
I will say every time I play this game, I'm very, very impressed in the actual gunplay in it.
Okay.
Like how good and accurate the guns are and feel and everything when you're actually using them. I mean, it's available now on everything. But this week they released like an update, so I think it's like a fair few gigabyte on the PS4. I think it's like about 6 to 8 gig or something. And I saw it updating in the background, and I was like, oh, they must have added something to that then for it to be so big. Basically, they've added a new map called Nightmare, which is another one of the maps where you'll sort of start in an arena, then go to another arena for the following round, and then another arena for the round after it. They've done it before with one of the other maps, which I think was called Descent. But there's like about 6 or 7 different ones, and you'll just get a random one each time. You obviously, the first one and the last one will be the same, or the second to last and the last one, but the two, I think, in the middle, or the one in the middle, will randomly be different, like themed and stuff.
Okay.
They also added a sort of like a way you can earn loot boxes because it's got the annoying, like the game itself had the original annoying loot box thing of like, you've got a loot box, but you need to purchase a key to open it.
Yeah.
I never do it. There are people who do it. I mean, the first game that I heard of doing that was Counter-Strike
Oh, and it
on the
still does it. It still
PC.
makes a lot of money from it.
Yeah. That's why it's there. I mean, fair enough. Like, I can understand why they do it. It gives the devs a little bit of extra kickback and stuff. And when it's a little independent developer, I can understand it. It's when fucking massive corporations start putting that shit in their games
Yeah,
that
but
I have an
who's
issue.
Killing Floor made by?
Flipwire Entertainment.
Well, they're not very big, are they?
No, they're not. That's what I'm saying. It's like it was there, and obviously the game was on PC before it was on the PC in a sort of on and off beta phase for, I believe, a good year or two
Hmm.
before it actually hit the PS4.
Yeah, because the first Killing Floor was quite renowned on the PC. It was very popular. That's when I brought back some maps from the first one into the second one.
I mean, you can understand why. It's like a co-op Left 4 Dead clone, basically,
Yeah,
that supports up to 6 players
yeah,
with a constant level and progression system for the different classes.
yeah,
Like even like when I've been playing it, you put it on for a couple of games a day, and you're still making progress towards like your different perk ranks and stuff. What you're doing,
yeah.
which is great. But yeah, they added like daily challenges to it now, which net you cash. The cash is then used in the vault, and once the cash accumulates to a certain amount, you get a free loot crate rather than one you actually have to spend money on yourself. So I've earned two, but I've only received one because I think there's some kind of glitch with the game where it hasn't actually issued me the last crate I unlocked today, which was annoying. And there was a message at the bottom saying quit the game, come back in, and it will give it to you then. And I did all that, and it still didn't. So there's obviously a slight issue, and I looked into it, and other people have had the same thing as well, which is a bit disheartening because it did take me like about five days of dailies to get that crate, and then didn't even get the crate at the end of it. I was like, oh, you bugger. But the new map's fun. They think they've tossed in a few extra weapons for some of the classes as well. I will still say Firebug is absolute shit. That class is terrible. I had to use it today for one of the daily challenges and stuff, and the whole time I was using it, I was like, what is this class? Like, it is just the weapons just lack any power or anything. It's just horrible. And that starting weapon is just like the mini flamethrower. You might as well just be like throwing dry rice at the enemy to a certain effect. I'd much rather be popping heads off with a Winchester or an SMG or something. But yeah, it's still good that they're developing stuff for it and still adding stuff for it. Like we've had, like I think now about 5 or 6 new maps since the game came out, which is pretty cool. And they're constantly like tweaking stuff and adding bits to it, which is nice. I like to see a game like that getting supported, and it keeps people playing it.
Yeah.
And it was free on PS Plus, so it might even ending up going free on the Games with Gold thing at some point as well, which will bring a lot more people into it on the Xbox One
I hope so.
side of things. Oh, and the other game I've put quite a bit into this week. In fact, about 30 to 40 hours worth. Diablo 3.
Woo!
I know I talked about it. I think was it last week or the week before? About how I'd sort of like gone back in and finished the campaign and everything, and sort of started doing other bits and bobs on it. But it's just such a beautifully made game. Like to me, it is the best in its genre to that degree. Bearing in mind, I haven't played Path of Exile or whatever it is, which is like the sort of other one that a lot of people sort of compare it to, the free to play that's on PC and Xbox. But it's just so well polished. The all the different classes are really cool to use. I started a hardcore character like this week, I think it
Wow.
was, and basically played them through to about level 17. I'm still going. I didn't get taken out. I went as a crusader. And then the next night, I was like, I think I'll start another character for some reason. So I started a seasonal character as like the barbarian, only to find out the following day the season fucking ended.
Oh, bloody hell.
So that then reset my character back to like a standard character. So they're no longer seasonal, which is a pain. But I did get to keep all the weapons that I'd unlocked through the season, like in the main game, and now they're not a seasonal character. I can bump all their stats up with the Paragon points and such. But then, I think I spoke about it last time. I was really tempted as I was getting back into the game to pick up the Necromancer pack. And I thought to myself, right, it's come up to Halloween soon. Fingers crossed it might end up in the sale because spooky and all that.
Yeah.
And boom. I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday, logged in, 30% off, purchase. What a fucking class. Like, it just seems to be the most overpowered class in the game. Like, it's probably not, and there is like balancing, and I suppose like all the Paragon points and stuff I've poured into it from my monk has obviously increased its power and stuff quite a bit, but the abilities you get as this class is almost everything you could ever wish for from a class that calls itself Necromancer. You can, every time you kill an enemy, they will drop like a slab of meat, like a corpse on the floor where you took them out. These can be used as bombs, to be devoured for health, to have essence sucked out of them, or to be resurrected into deadly fucking like undead that will fight alongside you for a certain amount of time. And you can get a lot of them as well. But the corpse bombs is just by far the most OP thing ever, because you just think you go in, throw like a big bone lance for a load of them go down, start targeting the corpses and just start chaining the explosions, because obviously as soon as you hit one, you take a couple more out, they're going to drop corpses, use them on them and them and them. You just like end up all this meat and shit flying all over the place. You're going around with a follower like, oh, I can see you're pure of heart and justice is on your side. Like, mate, I'm blowing up fucking dead bodies. I've got a skeleton army with me. I'm not particularly a really good person, am I, really? But yeah, you've got another thing where you can have like a skeleton army with you, which gives you 7 fucking skeleton warriors that you can just sick on people. If you don't, they just go off and just tear into things anyway of their own accord, which is pretty great. You can curse things. You can have like a big, ugly fucking meat monster that looks like something from Resident Evil. I think it's like a meat golem or something it's called. It's bizarre that you can actually run around towns with these people with you and no one bats an eyelid.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, thank you for saving us from those terrors, mate. What the fuck is that? At the moment, my pet that I also unlocked from having the like the Necromancer packs, you also obviously get like a couple of icons for your flag. You get like a pet minion which looks like a skinned child who's swallowed a bagpipe, and like a pair of like skeletal demonic wings as well that you can sort of toggle on and off on your character. But I've just been having loads and loads of fun with it. Like, it's one of those games where sort of like I've just been sort of coming back in like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm just like, right, crack that on. Sort of 2-3 hours past before I've noticed.
It's crazy because the game is quite old now as well, isn't it?
Oh, it must be about 7-8 years old, something like that.
Well, it came out during the 360 era. I think just before the Xbox One came out, actually. So it's what, 5 years?
But it had been out on PC a good couple of years before that.
Been out a while, yeah.
Hold on, let's have a look. It probably won't have it on here or anything. It says 2014, but that must be just the PlayStation 4 version and the Xbox One version. But yeah, it's got to be pushing on to sort of like a lot
2012
of
it came out.
2012. I didn't. So what's that? Yeah, 5 years.
Oh,
Feels
I was
longer
right.
than that, to be honest. But the fact that it's still being supported, and it still has regular seasonal updates and things like that to it, it's just keeps going basically. And for, like I said before, for the amount of content, for the story mode that just seems to keep going and going and going, to then like the end game with like the rifts and the Paragon system and all the other countless bits and bobs. They're
Yeah.
still adding like new enemies to it, new seasons, new dungeons, new areas. I literally have no complaints with it at all. It's a fantastic game.
Yep. Agreed.
And unfortunately, I believe that's the last of its kind we'll see.
Yeah, because the next one will be Loot Box Central.
Exactly, it'll just be full of complete shit and like always online and all this other bollocks that's starting to infect everything, and it's a real shame. But it
Yeah.
just makes me appreciate games like that even more. I know, obviously, Diablo at the start was always online connection and all that lot because of the auction house and stuff. And I'm not too sure, but can you play Shadow of War offline
I have no idea.
because of the loot box bullshit?
No idea, dude.
Yeah, because that's interesting. Because if so, that can fuck itself. Because it's like that's when you really are starting to sort of like annoy the single player people. Because it's like a lot of people like the single player stuff because you don't have to be online for it, and you can go back to it in years to come and just crack it on and play away without a worry in the world. But if it's like, oh, sorry, you can't play this game because you can't connect to our shitty microtransactions system
Yeah.
that didn't even need to be there. It's a real shame. I did actually play a fair bit of Shadow of War this week around my mates when I pop round there again. I'm not particularly good at that, to be quite honest. I'm way worse at that than I am the Batman games when it comes to combat for some reason.
Yeah, it's not too
But
hard though. I mean, I've only briefly played it, so.
I will say it's a bit annoying when you go in to take out a boss and then he's got like a blood brother with him that starts giving you shit, and then like while you're attacking both of them, it's like, all right, mate, yeah, I've decided to jump in on this as well, mate. And you're just like, oh. It can become a bit frustrating in that sort of sense. And there was one dude. It was like we couldn't work out what the fuck to do against him. He was arrow proof. He literally just turned up and ambushed us, like out in the middle of nowhere. The tosser. He was like arrow proof. Every time you attacked him with your sword, he just grabbed you and pushed you back or smashed you with his shield. And it's just like, what the fuck are we supposed to do against this tosser? In the end, we like ended up taking him out, but he basically almost killed us a good couple of times, like while we was actually doing that. But yeah, that's basically me done. That's what I have been playing this week.
Cool. Get on to questions then. Scott Noble says, "Hello. Was just wondering if he's just asking me personally if I'm planning on getting a Mario Odyssey since I'm not buying any more games. Lulz. Love the show. Keep up the great work. No, I'm not going to buy Mario. I'm going to wait for Christmas and see if I get it as a Christmas present. Too many other Switch games to play at the moment, so there's that. Paul Clark.
Shocking, eh?
I know.
Compared to the Wii U, not enough games. Now it's too many games.
Yeah. Paul Clark says, anyone getting Wolfenstein 2? I think it'll be the only game I'll be getting this year, as Battlefront 2 can do one now.
I mean, I'm picking it up. The only annoying thing, pardon me, is I think you're gonna see a few week one sales for a couple of games underperform a little bit because people are waiting for the X.
Yeah.
But it's like myself. It's like I want Wolfenstein on the Xbox One X, so I'm gonna pick it up with my console. I'm not going to obviously get it on release for that, and it is a shame, especially in this era of companies seemingly abandoning single-player narrative games, which we'll speak about in a little bit as well. So obviously throwing support behind some of these single player games is a good thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know what companies are on about it. They're not saying that obviously the single player games aren't good, because pretty much most people's game of the year or top games of the year are all single player games basically from this year. They just don't make as much money for the greedy ass publishers as, say, like some multiplayer bollocks with tacked in microtransactions and always online connectivity.
Well, I don't think the pre-owned market is as prevalent in this generation as it was in the last gen either, because
No, I wouldn't say no.
you go into Game or CX or whatever, and there's not as many pre-owned games as there was in the last generation. Also, I think one of the main reasons for that is the digital sales. I think a lot of people are buying games digital now, especially even single player games, which is crazy. So
Yeah, I mean, there's already been supposed stories that Shadow of War has underperformed compared to the last game. Destiny 2 also sold less than Destiny 1.
yeah, but that was just in physical sales.
Yeah, but they're saying that doesn't necessarily translate to digital either. Like both games have underperformed from what they previous versions of the game did. I mean, Destiny possibly, because I was one of the people where it's like fool me once type of thing.
Yeah.
And then with Shadow of Mordor, I was like, loot boxes, go fuck yourself. And the fact that I don't want to conquer castles and all this shit with an army. I'm not interested in that. So that sort of like put me off a bit as well.
Fair.
But yeah, anyway, next.
Glyn says, just finished South Park: The Fractured But Whole. Anyone else played it? Never laughed so much. Well, I've talked about that a lot, and yeah, it's great. Tom Harding says, what 2018 game has you most hyped? What else is there to come out this year? Got Assassin's Creed, Wolfenstein. What else is there? Mario. I think that's it, innit?
He said 2018 game, not 2017.
Oh, well, what game's coming out next year?
Oh, off the top of my head, Crackdown 3. I'm interested to see what they do with that, to be honest, because what we saw of that last, it wasn't looking fantastic, and I can understand why Microsoft might have pulled that one back. But yeah, it's hard to tell. Obviously, God of War is one I'm looking forward to, because I've always been a huge fan of the God of War games, even though they are just like mindless bearded man shouting and murdering shit. Days Gone as well is another one I'm
looks
quite
cool.
interested
Yeah.
in. Yeah. And then you've got like Japanese, couple of weird Japanesey games like Dragon Quest, which is out next year on PS4 and Switch as well. Yes, I'll probably remember like way more, but they're the only ones I can really think of off the top of my head.
I can't think of any
you've
games
got
next year at all.
about the Crew 2. You was jizzing all over that. I think that's
Oh
next year.
yeah, the Crew 2. Fuck me, that looks awesome. I just remembered a game for this year as well, Need for Speed. That looks
Is that
tempting.
actually out this year? Because
Yeah,
I haven't
it
heard.
is. Yeah.
It's got so quiet. Like when you think about it.
Yeah, it's definitely out. Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
I mean, obviously the people on EA Access or whatever will probably get a nice little demo thing of the game before it, like a week or so before it's out. But yeah, I'm surprised I haven't really heard anything since E3. That's how much I completely forgot about it, to be honest.
Yeah, well there you go. It looks good. Collie Wally sent us a message on Discord. What will be your approach to managing the new demands of fatherhood alongside work, gaming, and podcasting? I don't know.
Lay in the corner and cry.
Yeah, yeah. The podcast might take a small hit. We shall see.
At least you've got the Switch.
Yeah, definitely.
So
it's going to help.
The kid can have the Switch out. Just make sure he keeps his like baby dribble hands away from the screen, I guess.
Yeah. Darkest Frost says, do you think you are the same type of gamer as you were 10 years ago?
No,
Shit,
I
definitely
don't think
not.
I am. I'm far more critical now than I used to be.
I think I play as many games as I have always, but I think in the last couple of years I've changed more with in regards to stepping away from console gaming more to PC gaming. That's just kind of how I've evolved, I think.
Yeah, it's only
And
been really within the last year or so, though, hasn't it?
yeah, and talking about that, it's the podcast's 10-year anniversary in February.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, man.
Got anything special planned?
Uh, no, screaming baby in the background. That's about it, really. Don't know, we'll see. So, yeah, I mean, because that was 360 days, man, playing COD 4 and shit like that. Halo 3. Um, yeah, crazy times, man. It was good times.
Uh,
And gaming in itself has changed a lot, I think, as well. I think it's online gaming in particular has become a lot more popular in the last 10 years. Xbox are no
it's
longer the
weird, yeah.
daddies, which they used to be.
It's weird because, like, obviously with that, obviously when the 360 first came out, I was literally always online chatting to people, playing online games and stuff. But I tend to I've moved away from that a lot now.
Mm,
I think
yeah,
it's for me a lot of the sort of shootery type of games I was into haven't really changed or evolved. They're always the same.
yeah,
And because of like random stuff going on all the time and you never know and whatnot, it's just easier to sometimes have something you can just pause and put down for a minute if you need to deal with something or sort
yeah,
something out or just want a quiet sort of time sort of thing. I mean, if you've been at work all day, like at your job, and it's been getting you down, do you really want to come home and scream abuse down the mic in some multiplayer game
yes.
for about an hour?
I mean, I still try to game online as much as I used to, but I struggle to find people to game online with now because I don't want to meet new people. I'm really sucky at that. I like to just now I've got my friends lists and people I've gamed with for years. I just want to game with them, and I'm finding that it's mainly the podcast co-hosts really, and they've all now become busier for different reasons, which is why any of them ever turn up on the fucking podcast anymore. They're hardly ever online to game with anymore either, and I think their tastes for games have changed as well because I do see them online playing different games. Sometimes mainly single player games, but for multiplayer games, I just think I never see anyone online. I mean, Colin's only online, for example, on the weekends, just only playing Overwatch, and that's it.
I mean, we all
So
saw like huge differences in online gaming, just in like another aspect when they brought out party chat
yeah,
because you no longer met people in games and everyone just segregated off into their little groups of friends
mhm,
and you just all sit in party chats. So you'd never really meet any new people in games. And
yeah,
most of the people I've now met or spoken to and stuff in recent years have either been people who listen to the podcast or friends of friends that you end up in parties with.
yeah,
Like I'll very rarely ever jump into any multiplayer game online on the mic and be like, "All right, how's everyone doing?"
yeah. That's it.
Sort of
No, I'm
thing.
not like that. I
Anything
mean,
like that.
I I like player unknowns is different because me and Kirk we sometimes go into four player and then join the game chat and talk to people, which I haven't done in any other game for years. And you do meet some cool people actually online.
Are there some
So
like crazy racist kids?
mm, I've not really met any of them for a while.
Uh, no one rapping down the mic, freestyling and all that stuff.
No,
Someone
no, but
shouting at the mother in the background.
I do remember those days on Xbox Live though. Crazy
Our Call of
times.
Duty was just the best for that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like the abuse and like random shits like you'd get.
yeah, fucking hilarious. That's all the questions. Wasn't there something you want to talk about before we went?
Well, there was like a few little different bits and bobs that happened in gaming this week. We had Visceral Games being shut down by shitty EA games.
And those were the people that made Dead Space games.
Yeah,
Yep.
made the first two like Dead Space games. They did do a few other things before that. They made Dante's Inferno as well, which I
Oh, that was a good
thoroughly
game.
enjoyed.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's just a God of War clone," and I was like, "But it's good. Like, there's ways of copying stuff and making it good and unique in its own thing." Like, I think I even played through that game twice because you could evolve your character in like holy or like evil, wouldn't it? So you could like purge your enemies and send them to hell, or basically absolve them and send them to heaven. And you got like different combat moves and things depending on which side you were actually going as well. And I thought the boss designs were really cool. The graphics at the time were pretty impressive as well. The whole 7 circles of hell or whatever it is that you went through and everything was really cool and whatnot, and really liked it. But unfortunately, it's just another company that's become just more food for the parasite that is EA.
Yeah. Completely agree. I think Activision are just as bad as well.
They're not
But
too bad. I mean, yeah, well, I'll talk about them in a little bit with one of their fucking patents that they filed that was
yes.
discovered this week. Fuckers. Um, but yeah, if you look at EA's track record with developers and like once fantastic developers that had like made these really, really good games, and they just basically come in and bought them out, and it's like Pandemic, who made the original Star Wars Battlefront games, which were amazing.
Yeah.
Like at one point when those games came out, they were like one of my favourite developers. I was like, these guys know what the fuck's going on. This is great. This plays great. This feels great. I made Mercenaries, which was kind of like Star Wars Battlefront, but with sort of like weird army trimmings and stuff like that, and a sort of open world and everything. And again, I thought it was a fairly decent game. It wasn't appalling or a bad game by any means. And then EA bought them, and it's like, yeah, quality. And then they got them to make some fucking bollocks that's just nothing to do with them, like the games they used to make. And then we're like, oh, shut them down. And
Arseholes.
it was just the same with Visceral. It's
Yep.
like, at them, they made Dead Space and all of that, and then EA were like, right, it was EA that fucking got them to fuck up Dead Space 3. It has to be. With like, do you remember it was Dead Space 3 was one of the first games, and I think it came with like a fucking online pass because it was online co-op, and EA stuck online passes in all their games.
Yep.
And then they stuck in that microtransaction shit, which a lot of people moaned about, but to me, that was like a little gnat, when you think of how that sort of thing has infected stuff now.
Yeah.
Like that literally was, oh, if you want to buy extra resources for your guns and stuff, there's your option to. That was it. That was all there pretty much really was. And you could farm resources in that game really easily. I never even felt the need to go near the microtransaction currency thing in it, or the materials and stuff. And then what did they get them to do after that? Do you want to do Battlefield Hardline, boys?
Yeah, and that
Fucking
sucked dick
not really.
as well.
And then they fucked them off. Like, as soon as they're in the middle of making a Star Wars game, which, quote unquote, in today's market, we don't think a narratively story-based driven single-player game is really what people want after we focus test. Who do you focus test? Who are these fucking moronic dickheads that these fucking companies go and speak to for the focus tests in their fucking games?
Oh no,
Are
it's
these
ridiculous.
the same ones that wanted multiplayer in like Dead Space 2? Oh, we got to have multiplayer versus mode in Dead Space. Fuck off!
No, you just
No one wanted that. It's just like, what are you fucking playing at? Criterion. We haven't had a Burnout game in 10 fucking years. 10 years. And everyone loved Paradise.
Yeah.
It's a fucking great game. That game was almost like a supposed ecosystem, which they're trying to turn all the games into. They could have built up and done that. But instead, they've got them off doing Star Wars maps and other shit.
Oh no,
Let
it's
these
ridiculous,
companies
isn't
go
it?
back and make the games they once made. Like, who are the other? Maxis, the creators of SimCity and The Sims, beloved franchises. And then they got them to force out a quickly made Sims 3 or whatever it was, which was slightly half baked, undercut, again, full of microtransactions and bollocks. A lot of people were looked at what you got with it and were like, no, and didn't really buy it. SimCity was blighted in the fact that the bloody thing was like always online for the original and the game didn't work properly and kept crashing and freaking out. And then they shut them down as well. That's what this company does. They get these great developers, they put them under this roof. Oh, it's all right, EA's going to take care of us. Then they'll fucking ask them to come out in the back garden and fucking euthanize them.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. We're soon going to end up with like all these just samey, crappy games that the fucking brain dead will just eat up and fucking feed these fat cats all this money that they so crave, and it's going to be left to literally indie developers to pick up the slack of games people actually want to play, because if it's not shifting 4 million or 5 million or whatever above that, it's a failure and it's stupid and it's not worth doing. Tell that to the people who fucking played Nier Automata this year.
Yeah, that game was fucking awesome.
It's just, I just don't get it. And like these games companies that make all of these type of things, like EA, they're going to make a shitload of money off FIFA alone.
Yeah.
They're still going to make a lot of money off Battlefield, even with the controversy. They can afford to have games not shift more than like 5 million copies or whatever, or have other developers to actually take risks and make other things. I mean, we saw them briefly do it with Mirror's Edge 2. Fair enough, it was a small minority of people that asked for that game, and the sequel didn't perform that well either, the original. And then you've just thinking of another developer, Bullfrog, made the Syndicate games. Let's get a nice strategy top-down game and turn it into a first-person shooter that most people ignored. And then we'll shut them down as well.
Well, it's just what EA have been doing it for years, mate. They started doing that in the 360 era.
It's just absolutely disheartening. And that on top of, like, we'll go into the Activision thing, of them filing a patent of, like, trying to force matchmaking between good skilled players with microtransaction gear and lower, newer players who don't have that gear. And then after the match saying, oh, old fucking X-Snipe 69 shot you 80 times with this gun, which you don't have. Would you like to purchase it with in-game currency? Like, it's almost like gaming to them has almost become a sickening business. I know it is a business and all businesses exist to make money, but there's making money and then there's standing over everyone like a giant fucking Hoover trying to suck up everything you can fucking get. And the fact is a majority of the gaming community will just be like, oh no, it's all right, mate. But yeah, it's the rest of us that fucking pay the price for it by losing out on games that could have been, or losing out on fantastic developers.
Yeah, I think it's crazy, but it wouldn't surprise me if similar things in online matchmaking in games has already been happening.
It probably wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's one of the reasons I veer away a lot from sort of online games to a certain degree anyway, is the fact that a lot of the multiplayer games nowadays are just generally unbalanced.
Yeah, completely agree.
You don't ever start on a level playing field anymore. You always jump in and someone's like level extra with extra perks or a better gun that does more damage. Fuck off. It's not competitive if it's like that.
That's why you need to play PUBG, mate.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. With that, it's down to what you find and stuff like that. That's okay. That's part of the game. But generally, in a game, you should be taken out or perform well because of skill, not because of what you've unlocked or what you have available to you. And I've always applauded sort of like multiplayer games that keep everything on sort of like a level playing field to some extent. But it's moving away from that. And as we know, more of these games are becoming online connected ecosystems where they can sell you skins and microtransactions and connect to the servers to do all this other. It's like with the stuff in GT Sport. Does that really need to be online? Does the game really need to be online?
I think you know the answer to that already. Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah. It's just companies want to do that. I mean, fair enough. That's fine. But if you go back to, like, say 20, 30 years down the line, you want to play GT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can do that. 7, oh, sorry, you need to be online, mate. Oh, don't worry, you can play against a couple of AI opponents offline in a fucking arcade mode. Woo! You just, like, one of the things that's actually I have appreciated to a certain degree, even though I do sort of like rag on it a little bit because it's basically emulation, is the Xbox One's backwards compatibility to a certain degree, because it keeps certain games alive. You can still play them regardless. And in certain games, if they had an online system or an online multiplayer portions of that game, it reinvigorates a bit of health back into it as well, and will bring players back in that might have left and thought, oh, jump back on that again. I fancy a few games of like the old Call of Duty or whatever. And you can still do that, which is a good thing. But they're going to risk like certain games in the future just being like gone, like an MMO that's literally run out of like its like service, no longer able to play it anymore. There will be a time when you go to play Destiny 1, you will never be able to play it again. There will be a time when you go to play The Division, you will never be able to play it. Final Fantasy 14, never be able to play it. They will just be gone forever.
Well, that's just the way it is now, mate. I just think we just need to kind of accept it. In a sad way.
Yeah, if there's a single player game or certain game that it's not an MMO and it doesn't need to be online, I will not fucking buy it because it's not something I'm willing to support, and I just don't see the fucking point. It's just like, why have you done this? Just like the main reason I didn't buy Shadow of Mordor. I don't want loot boxes in single player games.
No, that's fair.
Among other things. I know, like, it's not really going to make any difference because there's a newer generation of people out there that play bollocks mobile fucking crap and fucking throw thousands of pounds at it and stuff. Bearing in mind there are decent mobile phone games out there, they're just not for me at all. The same thing with the microtransactions. You can scream and shout and holler, and at the end of the day you'll just get some dickhead that will still spend hundreds, thousands of pounds on them and fuck it up for everyone else.
Yep.
I mean, the thing is like there was people back then like, oh, do you remember when we started complaining about loot boxes? And we're here already, like, to a certain degree, and then it's only going to get worse as the years go on. And with the news that's coming out of gaming, with like the whole EA shit this week, the whole Activision patent and all of that lot, it is going more and more and more in that direction that developers, not necessarily the developers, but the game publishers just see us as wallets on fucking legs. They don't care about us or the experiences we have. They just want to fucking suck all their money up.
Agreed. Right, I think we need to end this conversation here now, Switch, because it's been turned to a bit of a rant.
Yeah, sorry. I had to get it all off my chest though, mate, because we're losing some of my favourite game developers and stuff.
Well, we'll just have to play retro games, mate. That's all, just have to do that. Anyway, I think we need to end it here. I need to have my dinner.
True.
But thank you for coming on.
That's cool, man. Anytime.
At least I can rely on you, Darren, to be there for me every single Sunday.
Mostly.
Yeah. I think we're gonna we might record on Monday next week, and we might live stream it because I've got a Virgin engineer coming around on Wednesday to have a look at my internet. So
if it is next Monday, I might not be around. I'm just warning you now.
That's all right.
Because every other Monday I'm out, but hopefully you can get some other people on.
Yep.
Because I'm sure people are bored of me talking bollocks anyway.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. You just talk bollocks. I joke. Yeah, it's been good, man. It's been good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to end it here, and that's the end of the show. So I hope you guys enjoy. So from me, Mark Webb, Gamer Topus on D Steam ID, Webby307.
And Sensei Switch.
So thank you very much. Don't forget to visit the website mojo-interactive.net. You can follow us on Twitter at mojo_int and facebook.com/groups/mojo interactive, all one word. So thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Goodbye. Oh man, that was good. Cheers for that.
Yeah, I know. Did you hear about all the NeoGaf shit, like as well?
Yeah, well,
I
what
know you
happened with
did.
that? Because I am actually a member of that website, but I've not been on it for months. And then I saw Colin put a tweet out saying, "Oh, I'm lolling at all this NeoGaf shit, but what is NeoGaf?" I was like, "Have you
Well,
never been on there?"
yeah, I haven't obviously been on there personally. I mean, I know it's basically almost like a gaming version of sort of like a similar thing to Reddit and stuff like that. You'll get a lot of weird fandoms on there and some fucking zealots and die-hard fucking fanboys and all that lot trying to throw shade on other things and whatnot, which is why a few people are quite glad to see them go. In fact, one of the Xbox top people sort of sniggered at their basic demise yesterday, because like basically NeoGaf hasn't been very friendly towards the Xbox as a brand for the last few years to a certain degree. I think it's just because the people on there are just quite happy to point out their shit, basically. Sort of a thing, like about the exclusives and things like that, and obviously it's things that I don't particularly want to hear. But yeah, I think the bloke that owns the whole thing is basically been accused of sexual assault again.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, I was reading up a little bit about it earlier. Yeah.
Like, that is something I fucking can't stand.
That's bullshit, man. It should have been fucking done the first time.
The good thing is a lot of these slimy fuckers basically being ousted now. It's like America's Hollywood now is basically just full like running over Hollywood and going, how does it feel to be the BBC 2 years ago?
Yeah.
When we was having our pedo clean out, and now it's your turn for fucking sexual predators.
Oh, it's fucked up, man. It's fucked up
It's
shit.
just mad. Oh, I forgot to say about it as well, like on the thingy that I got the new Xbox dashboard update.
Oh, I might have had it for ages.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good, man. I mean, because I'm in the alpha bunch, so yeah, I've had this new dashboard for about 2 months, I would say. It's good. It is good. It's a lot better. It's a lot cleaner. It's a lot quicker.
It reminds me, like I said before in the early screenshots and stuff. It reminds me quite a bit of the PlayStation one. Like it's got rid of a lot of the clutter and the borders and all the other sort of things that I didn't particularly like. The quick navigation menu and everything when you push the middle button reminds me a lot of the old, like almost like the Blades.
Yeah.
Like how quick and responsive it is and everything with it. It's really good. I'm really liking it. They're going like leaps and bounds, and this is a really good dashboard to kick off the whole of like the sort of like the new Xbox One X thing with and everything.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. So are you pre-downloading all the 4K assets into your games now?
No, I mean, I think I've got the options to do that, but a lot of the games that utilise those, like the first party stuff, I fucked off my hard drive ages ago because they were just piss takes for fucking data size anyway, like Halo and Gears and all that.
Yeah.
Well, Gears ended up smashed into pieces, so that was disappeared anyway. But yeah, I probably won't be picking up an Xbox One X on release anyway. I'm probably going to wait a little bit.
I thought you pre-ordered one. I thought you
No,
pre-ordered a
I hadn't
Scorpio.
pre-ordered one. No, I didn't want the Scorpio edition anyway because I didn't want it that design. I just wanted the standard black machine.
Oh, that's fair. Well, they're doing some quite good deals already, aren't they, on the X with a couple of games and stuff. So I think by the time next year rolls around, they'll be doing some even better deals.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day when I bought my Xbox 360 Elite. Do you remember the black one with the 120 gig hard drive or whatever it was?
Yep.
120 gig or 20 gig in there on the original.
Yeah, fucking hell, I
Um,
remember that.
you wouldn't even fit fucking a quarter of a game on there now, some of them. Um, but yeah, I remember getting that with Bioshock because they both came out on the same day, and what a day that was. Getting home, setting it all up, getting my little transfer lead out to copy everything from one hard drive to the other, beating up Bioshock and being like, yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping to pick it up with like Wolfenstein in a bundle or something at some point. But at the moment, I've got to wait and see what finances are like because I've got bills to pay and shit. I can't really be
Yeah, that's
splashing
fair.
out fucking 400 and something pound on a upgraded version of a machine I technically already have anyway.
Yeah.
Just to run around and go, yeah, I've got Wolfenstein and I'm now playing an updated version of Fortnite.
Lols. Cool. All right, mate. Well, I'm going to jump off because I need to eat. So,
Yeah, no worries, mate. Cheers for that. Anyway,
no worries, mate. And I'll,
it's all good.
yeah, I'll talk to you later, dude.
Yeah, I'll catch you in the week at some point, no
Yeah,
doubt.
I'll be about at some point.
No worries.
Yeah. All right, mate.
All right,
See
see
ya.
ya.
Bye.
Bye.